everyone, welcome back for another preview and predictions video. The team that we're going to be looking into today is our 2024 Texas A&M Aggies football team. We are going to completely preview this roster, look over the roster top to bottom, seeing what pieces they lost from last year's team, but also what pieces they're going to be bringing in for the 2024 season. And they've had a massive overhaul of this roster. There's a new head coach, same quarterback, lots of players transferred in, lots of players transferred out, but it's still a top 10 stacked roster. They have a lot of anticipation coming into this season with their revamped lineup. But we're also going to look over their 2024 schedule, going game by game, seeing which games we predict them to win, lose, and what we predict their final record will be. College football starts in 1 week. One more week till kickoff. We cannot wait. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I will respond. So our 2024 Texas A&M Aggies. This is a football team that's obviously had a complete transformation, a complete facelift. Now Vegas has them coming in at 8.5 wins this year. We always hear the same thing. This is the year for the Aggies, but maybe with the new facelift, with the new hires they've made, maybe perhaps the Aggies can actually live up to the expectations this season. New coach, new scheme, there's high hopes. Jimbo Fisher, obviously, he was fired last year, so you're bringing in a new coach. Coordinators are all gone. Fisher's tenure was always full of not being able to live up to expectations. So not being able to fully live up to the massive talent expectations that were there. Now, this is obviously a very talented roster, but they never achieved really what they should have with the level of talent they had. This is a top 5 overall roster, even with all the players that transferred out. This roster is loaded with blue chip 4- and 5-star players. Mike Elko, he's now the head coach. He's arriving from Duke, where he built a really competitive team there. You have the offensive coordinator, Colin Klein, coming over. He's coming over from K-State, where he also played at. He's going to be a difference maker. The offense he's bringing over from Kansas State was a multiple offense. It's going to work wonders with the talent that the Aggies have. But we always hear the same thing. This is the year, but maybe Mike Elko is going to be the guy who can actually live up to those expectations. But let's remember, this is a new coach. This is a whole new schedule. This is a whole new scheme. So there's probably, don't be surprised if there's some growing pains along the way this season. That's to be expected. But it helps massively that they already have an experienced quarterback already on the roster. Quarterback Connor Wegman, he was already there. He played great last season, but he got knocked out early because he got hurt. But he's there. And when he played, he was legit, and he rarely throws interceptions. He's a stud at the quarterback position. So you already have a foundational piece at the most important position on the field. The offensive line, they have a lot of starters back. The wide receiver set, they have Muhammad, Thomas, Walker, you have Green at tight end, you have Watson. There's a lot of weapons there for him to be able to get the ball to. Running back's more of a question as of right now, but there's a lot of depth by committee, and they're probably going to be led by the running back, Ruben Owens. Now, under Fisher, the Aggies always had a really good defense. They always had a top 20 defense. All that talent's still there. So defense is definitely not going to be a question. That's actually still probably going to be the strength of this team as of right now. You have Skirton, Turner, Hicks, Stewart, York, Williams, Anderson, Chappell, Lee. There's lots of names that you need to know. That defense is still going to be a top 30, a top 20 defense coming into the 2024 football season. So that's going to be something that they can rely on. But let's go ahead and take a look at this schedule. So they kick things off Saturday, August 31st versus Notre Dame. So right out the gate, you have a really tough out-of-conference game. Notre Dame, this is kind of a hallmark for Mike Elko because his old quarterback was Riley Leonard, who has since transferred over, and he's now the quarterback for Notre Dame. Notre Dame had a top 5 defense last season. Sam Hartman's gone. They have a very deep running back room. They have probably the best wide receiver core they've had in a while. Notre Dame's going to be loaded, but will Riley Leonard be healthy? He was hurt to end the season last year. But Notre Dame, I'm going to go with Notre Dame to get the win week 1. If the Aggies won, I would in no way be surprised. But to me, it's a lot to ask. New head coach, new scheme on both sides of the ball, for them to be able to beat Notre Dame, that's going to be running a very similar scheme that they've always run. And they also have the offensive coordinator, Denbrock, coming back to Notre Dame from LSU, where Daniels won the Heisman. So I think Notre Dame's going to win it in a close one, like a 28-24. Aggies start out 0-1. Then next Saturday, September 7th, versus McNeese. This is obviously going to be an easy win. Look for them to rebound, to blow them out 55-7, and the Aggies are 1-1. Then they follow that up Saturday, September 14th at Florida. So they're going to the Swamp, to Gainesville, starting SEC play. Gainesville's kind of a hard team to measure right now, the Florida Gators. They have a top 20 talent roster, but Billy Napier has the most difficult college football schedule I've ever seen in my life. They have nonstop. They play 9 ranked teams this season. That's going to be rough, but that's not going to show first half of the season. They're not going to be wore out to the second half, where in their last 5 games is versus top 15 teams. So I think they still have high expectations first half before they get knocked down to reality. So I actually have the Gators getting a surprising win at home versus the Aggies, winning 30-27, and the Aggies are 1-2. But also here, I would not be surprised if the Aggies won. Do not panic, because they're 1-2 so far, though. Then after that, September 21st versus Bowling Green, look for them to rebound, blow them out 52-10, and they're 2-2. After that, Saturday, September 28th versus Arkansas. Arkansas under Sam Pittman, they lost KJ Jefferson. Sam Pittman's probably going to get fired at some point of the season. They just haven't been very good. They're going to blow through them, led by their running game and their defense. They're going to win this one 37-17, and they're 3-2. After that, Saturday, October 5th versus Missouri. Missouri's probably going to be a top 10 at this point. They have a top 30 offense, top 30 defense. They have Cookback, they have Burden. But I think the Aggies are really starting to click here. Their defense is their strength. They're playing well. The offense is starting to get adapted to the scheme. Look for them to steal as the underdog versus Missouri, to beat them 34-24. And that puts them at what? 4-2. Then after that, Saturday, October 19th at Mississippi State. Obviously, this isn't Mike Leach's Mississippi State. This is Jeff Lebby, the new coach. He's completely transforming the whole team, completely flipping the roster. There's going to be a massive talent gap here. Look for the Aggies to roll through them. I'm going to put this one at 45-14. And they're 5-2. Then after that, Saturday, October 26th versus LSU. This is a tough one because LSU's defense was pathetic last season, but they have Blake Baker coming over from Missouri. They did lose Denbrock as the offense coordinator. They lost the Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels. They have Nussmeier taking over as the quarterback. They have a loaded offense. The main question is, how much better is their defense going to be? Because their defense was awful last season. I have LSU getting the win here. If this game turns into a shootout, they're probably more equipped to handle it right now, just because they have a very experienced offensive roster. I have LSU winning this one 33-28, and the Aggies are 5-3. Then after that, Saturday, but I would not be surprised if the Aggies won this game, because it could potentially be a shootout, which is anyone's game. After that, Saturday, November 2nd versus South Carolina. This is another team. Beamer might get fired at some point this season. They did lose Rattler from last year's squad. Look for the Aggies to rebound here. They're going to take this one 40-20, and they're 6-3. Saturday, November 16th versus New Mexico State. They're going to continue to roll through them. They're going to blow them out 44-14. And they're 7-3. Saturday, November 23rd at Auburn. Really tough place to play. Hugh Freeze is rebuilding his team. Peyton Thorne is back at quarterback. He didn't play very well last season, but they have a lot of new weapons at the wide receiver position. And they're also bringing back almost their entire defense from a top 25 defense last season. I have Auburn winning at home. They're going to be a better team this year than they were last season. This is probably an 8-win Auburn squad. I have the Aggies losing this one in a close, low-scoring game, 27-24, and they're 7-4. Then they finish the season Saturday, November 30th versus Texas. The big rivalry game is finally back with Texas joining the SEC. Texas is going to have a really strong season. They're loaded, a top 30 offense, top 30 defense. But I think at this point of the season, they're obviously going to be really built up for this game. But I think they get caught looking at a potential SEC championship game versus Bama or Georgia. And even though they're ready to play this rivalry game, I think the Aggies are more pumped up for it. And Texas gets caught looking ahead, thinking they're going to steamroll through this game. And I'm actually going to go with the underdog Aggies to beat the Texas Longhorns in the long-awaited rematch for the state of Texas, winning this one 33-30, a shootout game, finishing the regular season 8-4. So I have our 2024 Texas A&M Aggies finishing the season 8-4. Strong first freshman season for Mike Elko at Texas A&M. I think it's a really strong foundational year. I think he'll be able to build on that. He's a great coach. Winning 8 games this year sets you up to win potentially 9 or 10 in 2025 and continue the building blocks in there. So that's our breakdown of the Aggies. Go ahead, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below and I'll respond. Thank you.